This is Houses and Culture with information gathered from DOGTROT House and the Westward Moving House. From the Westward Moving House, we are given an insight of the development of the structure of the house throughout generations. Nehemiah's house was built for practicality. It was not necessarily efficient, but as long as it fit the family's needs, it would do. As the generations go, the house changes. It is no longer built just for practicality, but as a show of wealth. You can see the values of the family change just through observing the house they live in. The article shown here is a similar story. As generations go by, members of a specific group spread their wings by moving to unfamiliar areas. As we go through the Westward Moving House, we see cultural diffusion. When Nehemiah moved from New England and when Pliny moved to Ilium, Illinois, they brought their culture and their values with them. This creates cultural diffusion. However, Pliny moved, much like Nehemiah, to escape the culture that dominated his original town. Because of this, the aspects of their culture that they bring with them is selective based on their opinions. This is an example of what Nehemiah's town looked like. They had rules that dictated the houses had to be built within a certain distance of the town meeting house. This created a type of community within the town. They also didn't think about working for profit. They did what they needed to do to get by and never even thought about expanding their farms. The difference between Nehemiah and Pliny that is pretty significant is that Nehemiah took the land that was given to him, and Pliny had the option to bid for the land that he wanted and to negotiate. Another huge difference. The Westward Moving House ends with Ray. He is still a farmer, but he believes in farming in a very different way than his roots. His family stays out of the business. If they want to learn, they can go to college like him. They're building a house that is not really for the family. It'll be used for room and board, but the family will spend most of their time away from the home. Building the house and designing it really consumes his wife. And she plans it according to how she expects to live their life, which is the kids will barely be at home, and Ray will be at work, and she will be there. So mainly the house is for her. We can really tell how the values of the family has changed over the generations just by how they design their home. From DOGTROT House, we learn about stories revolving this specific type of structure. We learn the general area of this structure and how it was kind of discontinued for not meeting the needs. As you can see, it has two main rooms divided by a covered hall, which was primarily used for socializing. One of the rooms would have primarily been for as a bedroom, and the other would have been as a kind of Bible meeting area. This house was mainly used by military men, at least in DOGTROT House. It was mainly used by military men as they go to try to begin a settlement. However, most of these houses were not successful in protecting the inhabitants. This is the distribution of the DOGTROT House. As you can see, it's around the southeast area of the United States, which is where most of these military men went to go to try to begin the settlements. The structures that we build tell a lot about us and what we value. It tells the observer what is important to us and tells them a story of how we live our lives.